Thank you all for coming, and I'm just going to give a brief little introduction to all of our lovely panelists here, and Ophelia, the woman in that video, should be joining us a little bit later as well, so that'll be cool. So this was put together, you know, during Occupy we did a bunch of Know Your Rights handouts, things like that, and what is often seen, the legal system is supposed to be your recourse in case something bad happens to you, but unfortunately a lot of times it can be used against activists. So that's why we want to talk about knowing your legal rights as activists and how to make sure that we can protect ourselves and fight for social justice without ending up behind prison bars. So I'm going to introduce the lovely panelists. First right here I have Brian Pease. Give a round of applause. Brian Pease is a public interest attorney who is especially known for working with animal rights activism. So he's going to be sharing a little bit about that today. Thank you, Brian. Second, we have Rachel Skoma, who is
He also helped me with Corbett. He did the case defending campus for a cause, and that's why we're all able to go out and
So we got lots of good friends here. And Rachel Skoma here, our second panelist, is our attorney here as well as our executive director, and she works on a lot of free speech issues as well as defending all of our activists and making sure that we can be out there in the public every single day actually doing this work that we do. So thank you, Rachel. Next we have Kim Sims, who is a criminal defense attorney who actually specializes in medical marijuana law. So as you all know, yeah, you can go ahead and give a round of applause right now. As you all know, here at Campus for a Cause, one of our big campaigns is fighting for safe access for patients to have access to medical marijuana. Those of you that don't know, medical marijuana was actually legalized in California because of the LGBTQ community who fought for it for people with HIV/AIDS at a time when it was ignored by our government. So really cool. Thank you, Kim. Finally, we have Hasmi Magayan. How do I say your last name? Did I mess it up? Can you say it?
It's Gagamian.
Gagamian. Hasmi Gagamian. Excellent. And Hasmi is currently the the coordinator of the San Diego National Lawyers Guild. She's an awesome young attorney who is very involved with Occupy San Diego and is going to share with us about some awesome things about helping activists and their records. So give a round of applause to Hasmi. Awesome. So I'm first just going to start off with a brief question for all of our panelists to answer. And y'all have 2 minutes to answer this first question. So out of that, when you have 30 seconds left, I'll just kind of give you a noise signal to let you know. And we'll move forward from there. So like I said, a lot of times when we have legal issues, lawyers are the ones we turn to help us with this. So I'm just curious if you can all explain to us a little bit more about your work and why you decided to become a lawyer. And we'll just go down the line.
All right. Well, I've been involved in activism since I was 16. First got involved in the animal rights movement when I learned about the horrible things that are done to animals on factory farms. And I can throw out there that if anybody's interested in trying to go vegetarian or vegan for a week, if you're not already, 4th annual San Diego Veg Week is coming up next week. You can get discounts at different restaurants and prizes. There's an event each day of the week. It's at sdvegweek.com where you can sign up. But I first got involved in anti-fur activism. I also started working for NYPIR that same year, which is the New York Public Interest Research Group, Consumer Environmental Protection Group that does door-to-door canvassing in the summer, so basically what you guys do. Yeah, I got my start in activism with canvassing, and but with the anti-fur activism and the animal rights campaigning, that was kind of, so the NYPIR was very institutionalized activism, very professional, whereas the animal rights activism was crazy because we had this grassroots group that was just interested in civil disobedience and direct action, and so I got into that and started getting arrested, and then I was arrested for basically doing nothing more than holding a sign on the sidewalk in front of a fur store, and was given a restraining order until I could go back to the store, and said, fuck that, I'm going back to the store, and I was charged with contempt of court And when I was not entitled to a jury trial because I was 17 at that time. So the same judge who had issued the order found me not guilty of the underlying charge that I had been charged with originally, but guilty of contempt of court. He sentenced me to 13 weekends in jail. I had a pro bono attorney, but I wanted to do my own appeal. And so I did. I researched it, and I argued the appeal, and I actually won it and got the charges thrown out. And but I was kind of bitter with the legal system after that point, so I just did more. Is that 30 seconds? Okay. So I didn't really think. I still didn't really think the law was for me. So I just got involved in more direct action, more civil disobedience, kept getting arrested. And then, because I figured if they're going to arrest me for doing nothing wrong, then I'm just going to do stuff that, I should be getting arrested for. And then it was pro bono lawyers again that got me out of trouble, stopped me from being kicked out of college for taking over the administration and the rooftop and burning effigies and all that stuff. And then I realized I got to be a lawyer because that's the time to get people out of trouble. So corporation and all that stuff. So that's what I did.
So yes, my name is Rachel, and I went to law school because I really just didn't know what else to do with my life. So that's not a very inspiring story like Brian. But while in law school, it was just became very clear to me how skewed the judicial system is, how everything is fucked up and completely. The laws are created to help maintain power and privilege in people who already have that power and privilege. And I just kept going to these classes and being like, what are you teaching me? So it was through law school that I became radicalized, and that's where I became an activist. And I started working on workers' rights, and I really thought that what I wanted to do was organize labor and go out there and work for a union. I worked for the United Auto Workers Union in Detroit over my second summer at law school, and work on like labor law and issues. And then when I graduated, I went into cannabis activism, and I worked on the Prop 19 campaign. And that's where I found Chemists for a Cause, and I've been happy ever since, because when you work in activism, just like Brian was pointing out, you start running into all of these legal issues. And it's really great when you can start helping the people around you and start seeing the activists who are putting their lives and their bodies on the line to promote social justice, and to be an attorney who can represent you all is just a wonderful honor. So I'm so happy with the life choice that I made, even though it was a little accident, and now I'm cool.
Yeah, my story is a little bit more boring, like Rachel's. I grew up in a household with a lot of strong opinions, a lot of arguing over the dinner table about topics that were going way over my head, and on Friday nights watching things like Money with my parents, having not through really what I was watching. But I think that it instilled in me from a very young age the idea of thought-provoking conversation and not being afraid of them. When I graduated from college, I knew that I wanted to go to law school. I have strong belief that I like to voice them, and I don't like to stop talking until I get my way. But I also, as I was in law school and looked at these cases, I noticed a lot of things that Rachel was noticing, and I started to really develop an interest in the interplay of law and politics, the constant push and pull. I again wasn't really sure when I graduated what that meant or where I was supposed to go from there. But sort of a happy accident, I also fell into cannabis activism just by having a lot of friends that did not understand the medical marijuana laws at all, and were looking for people to explain it to them. And there was really only one or two attorneys in town charging exorbitant hourly rates, and I thought that there's got to be someone here who can sit down with people and explain to them what their rights are, where the blurry line is. And sort of grew from there. I teamed up with, again, Prop 19 and groups like Normal and American Safe Access, and really just sort of accidentally fell into this issue, this topic that really, again, it feeds all my interest, because it's obviously about that strong political undertone, and sort of like using law to dictate moral values, what someone does in the privacy of their own home, and then the legal issues that were